Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start today's class with the mantras. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhava Swaha, Tat Savitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Bhavatu, Sehna Bhunaktu, Seviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today's topic is various avatars of Lord Shiva. Most of the Hindus, they are familiar with the avatars of Lord Vishnu. But avatars of Lord Shiva and even avatars of Lord Brahma, we are not very clear about. To sustain the law of balance of nature or existence, Lord Shiva took many avatars in various yugs. So not just in one yug, various yugs. There is a Kurma Puran talks about 28 avatars of Lord Shiva. But in the Shiva Puran, which is also called a Shiva Mahapuran, there are 19 avatars of Lord Shiva mentioned. So today's talk is from Shiva Puran. So I'll be giving you a summary of 19 avatars. Some of these avatars, we are familiar with the names. Others you may not be. So if you need the spelling of any name, just raise your hand and I'll give you the spelling also. First one, Pipalad Avatar. This avatar of Lord Shiva was born to sage Dadichi and his wife Swarcha. You are all familiar with the story when Dadichi gave up his life to donate his bones to Indra to help him defeat the demon Vritra. At that time, the wife of Rishi Dadichi was pregnant with Pipalad. When Swarcha came to know about the death of her husband, she placed the infant Pipalad under a peepal tree. And that's where his name was derived. So baby under a peepal tree. Then she committed suicide to reunite with her husband. The infant Pipalad was taken care of by the Dadichi's sister, the Dhimati. So aunt took care of him. Pipalad was upset over his father's death even before he was born. He was told by the Devatas that the reason behind the Dadichi's early death was the trouble of Shani on him. He wanted to avenge Shani Dev for causing trouble to his father during his lifetime. Pipalad cursed Shani Dev, Saturn, not to be part of the universe. As a result, Shani Dev fell from the galaxy. However, after the Devatas intervened, Pipalad agreed to forgive Shani Dev on the condition that none below the age of 16 would get affected by his adverse effects. So Shani Dev, to save his own life, promised and never troubled anyone below the age of 16 years of age. And there's another version of his story that he grew up and learned about the cause of his father's death, and he performed a heavy penance to Lord Shiva and obtained a demon to kill all the Devatas. All the Devatas went to Shiva for protection. Lord Shiva made Piplad realize that nothing can be gained by killing the Devatas, because it was a plan for universal welfare, and his actions will not bring back his parents. And that calmed Piplad. Next avatar is Nandi Avatar. Nandi is described as the son of sage Shilad. Sage Shilad was a Brahmacharya, an ascetic, and chose not to marry any woman. But on the request of his dead ancestors, he did severe penance to Lord Shiva to have a boon of a child. When Lord Shiva, pleased by his penance, appeared in front of him, he requested for a child that was a Yonij. Okay, see, we are Yonij. So he wanted a Yonij, meaning one who is not born out of the womb. An immortal one who forever has the blessings of Shiva. He then received Nandi as his son. It is said that Nandi was born from a yajna performed by the Shilad, and his body was covered in armor made out of diamonds. Nandi grew as an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, and he did penance to become his gatekeeper as well as his mount. That's why we see the Nandi outside of Lord Shiva temples, gatekeeper. Third one is Veerbhadra Avatar. Veerbhadra is an extremely fierce and fearsome form of Shiva. Upon hearing the news that Sati had killed herself in the sacred fire at her father Daksha's yajna, Lord Shiva, in his deep sorrow and anger, plucked a lock from his hair and thrashed it on the ground. Veerbhadra was born from it. He was tall, with a muscular body, reaching the higher heavens. He was as dark as the stormy clouds, with the 3 burning eyes and fiery hair. He also wore a garland of skulls and carried weapons. Veerbhadra reached the place where Daksh was performing the yajna. He destroyed everything and he beheaded Daksh, the father of Sati, for his sins. And I'm sure most of you know this story. This one is a popular one. Okay, so Veerbhadra, he was avatar. So these avatars, you might be wondering that Lord Shiva was there and then the avatar came too. These are all Ansh avatar. Ansh avatar. Because Lord Shiva is always there on the Mount Kailash. But whenever there's a need for the welfare of the general public, he just almost incarnates over there too. Next one is Sharab Avatar. Lord Shiva assumed the form of a part animal and part bird, named Sharab. Why? To tame down the Narsimha, the most ferocious avatar of Vishnu. You remember Narsimha Avatar was born when Prahlad prayed, and Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu, that was a Narsimha Avatar. So Sharab Avatar had the body of an 8-legged lion, having 2 heads of a beast, 2 wings, and a long tail. After slaying Hiranyakashipu, Narsimha, his wrath threatened the world. Shiva sent Veerbhadra to tackle Narsimha. When that failed, Shiva manifested as Sharab. After failing at various polite attempts to calm Narsimha, Sharab Avatar attacked Narsimha and tied him to his tail and immobilized him, and eventually calming Narsimha's rage. So there's a Vishnu avatar and there's a Shiva avatar. And the purpose is again to create peace. Next one is Ashwatthama avatar. Ashwatthama is said to be the Vish Purush. Vish means poison. Sprung out of Shiv after he took halahal during Samudra Manthan. You're all familiar with that great story, Samudra Manthan. Several things came out. Halahal came out too. That wish. He was granted a blessing that he would be able to kill oppressive Kshatriyas, Ashwatthama. He would be born as Bharadwaja's grandson and be raised as Brahman, but will attracted to Kshatriyahood. When Acharya Drona did penance to obtain Shiv as his son, Shiv granted him the boon and his Vish Purush was born to Drona and his wife Kripi. Ashwatthama was born with a money or a diamond on his forehead. Ashwatthama is one of the 7 Chiranjeevis of Hinduism and is considered to be alive till date. So until the end of Kali Yuga, these 7 Chiranjeevis are here. And who are the other 6? If you don't know, grandson of Prahlad, Mahabali, that Bali king, sage Vyas, Hanumanji, Vibhishan, Kripacharya, and Lord Parshuram. We don't see them because we don't have those eyes. We don't have the understanding. We don't even have a faith. But they are here. Okay. Next one is Bhairav Avatar. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with this avatar also. Bhairav Avatar is also one of the fiercest avatars of Lord Shiva. Referred to as Dandapani, the Bhairav Avatar punishes sinners who are greedy, lustful, and arrogant. The origin of Bhairav can be traced to a conversation between Brahma and Vishnu. This is recounted in the Shiva Mahapurana. In this Puran, it's said that Vishnu asked Brahma, who is the supreme creator of the universe. Arrogantly, Brahma told Vishnu to worship him as supreme creator. One day, Brahma thought, I have 5 heads. At that time, he did. Shiv also has 5 heads. I can do everything that Shiv does, and therefore I am Shiv. Brahma became egoistical as a result of this thought. Additionally, he began to forget his duties and started interfering in what Shiv was supposed to be doing. Therefore, Shiv threw a small hair from his head, which assumed the form of a Kal Bhairav, that went on to cut off one of the head of Brahma that was facing upwards. After cutting one head of the Brahma, Brahma's ego was destroyed and he became enlightened. The skull of Brahma is held in the hands of Kal Bhairav, because we see that skull in his hand. So this is the reason. From then on, he became useful to himself and to the world and deeply grateful to Shiva also. But due to slaying one head of Brahma, called Bhairav was down with the sin of Brahmacharya, killing of a Brahman, and therefore had to go to Kashi to remorse for his sin. Next avatar of Shiva is Durvasa Avatar. This also most of you know. Durvasa was a great sage known for his short-tempered behavior and curses given to Indra, Saraswati, Rukmani, Shakuntala, etc. He was born to sage Atri and his wife Anusuya. According to the chapter 4 of Brahman Purana, Brahma and Shiv got into a heated quarrel. Shiv became violently enraged when the Devatas fled from his presence in fear. His wife Parvati complained that Shiv is now impossible to live with his infuriating nature and rage. Realizing the chaos his anger had caused, Shiv deposited this anger into Ansuya, the wife of Atri. From this Ansh of Shiva deposited into Ansuya, a child was now born named Durvasa. The name Durvasa literally means the one who is difficult to live with, Durvas. Lord Shiv took Durvasa's avatar for maintaining the discipline of the universe. And that's what we see whenever he's cursing here and there, to create some kind of a discipline. Next avatar is Grihapati Avatar. A Brahman named Vishwanar and his wife Shuchismati lived on the banks of Narmada River. Even after a long period of married life, they did not have a child. So they proceeded to Kashi and prayed to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appeared before Vishnu, blessed him and promised that he will take birth as their son. In due course of time, Shuchimati gave birth to a beautiful child. Lord Brahma named the child Grihapati. He started learning the Vedas in the traditional way. And within 1 year, he became proficient in all the Vedas and other sacred texts. When Grihapati attained the age of 9, Narad Muni came and said that Grihapati would not live for long. Grihapati then consoled his parents and proceeded to Kashi to do penance in order to avoid death. In Kashi, Grihapati found an auspicious place, placed a shivling there, and besides the shivling, he commenced his penance with prayers. On knowing about the act of Grihapati, Lord Indra arrived there and blessed him. He asked him to demand anything and the boon shall be granted. However, Grihapati refused to demand anything. Indra became furious upon this and tried to attack him with his Vajra, that weapon. Grihapati, now scared for his life, began praying to Lord Shiva for protection. Immediately, Lord Shiva appeared before him. On seeing Bholenath, Indra was forced to retreat from the scene. And Mahadev blessed Grihapati with a long life and assures him that no weapon would be able to kill him. Next avatar is a Hanuman avatar. Hanuman, born to Anjani and Kesari, is one of the central characters of the epic Ramayana and is the ultimate devotee of Vishnu's 7th avatar, Shri Ram. Hanuman is also called the son of deity Vayu, the wind god, because of the legends associated with Vayu's role in Hanuman's life. Hanuman is considered to be one of the 7 Chiranjeevis of Hinduism. As I told you earlier, will live on the earth till the end of Kali Yuga. Next avatar is, according to Shiva Mahapurana, Vrishabh Avatar. The churning of the great oceans brought numerous things. In fact, there was a fierce battle between demons and the deities over the vessel of Amrita. Lord Vishnu tricked all the Asurs by creating an illusion of enchanting beauty. When Asurs took note of them, they forcibly carried them to their abode, Patal. After that, they came back to take control of the Amrita. However, the Devatas had already taken the Amrita. Lord Vishnu went to the Patal Lok to annihilate them. But he was caught up in Maya and fathered many immoral sons who went on to create a ruckus for the gods. To get rid of these cruel sons of Vishnu, Lord Shiva assumed the form of an ox, known as Vrishab, and killed all the brutal sons of Lord Vishnu. However, Lord Vishnu came to fight the ox. Still, he returned to his abode after realizing that it was an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Next avatar is Yatinath Avatar. Once there was a tribal man, Ahuk. He, along with his wife, was ardent devotees of Lord Shiva. Once it so happened that Lord Shiva visited them in the form of Yatinath to test a tribal couple who were known for their hospitality. They had a very small hut that could not accommodate Lord Shiva as a guest. So Ahuk had to go to sleep outside. However, unfortunately, Ahuk was killed by a wild animal. Instead of mourning, his wife took pride in him for giving away his life for the sake of a guest. But to be one with his husband, his wife decided to end her own life also. Pleased by the couple's devotion, Lord Shiva blessed them by saying that they would be born as Nal and Damayanti in their next birth. And I'm sure you're familiar with the stories of Nal and Damayanti. Next avatar is Krishna Darshan Avatar. Krishna Darshan Avatar of Lord Shiva appeared to emphasize the importance of yajna and the importance of remaining detached, vairagya. During his childhood, King Nabhag left his home for Gurukul to get education. In his absence, his brothers got the wealth of the kingdom distributed among themselves. When Nabhag returned home after the completion of his education, he demanded his share of wealth from his brothers. His brothers told him that they had forgotten to assign his share and advised him to go and meet their father. Nabhag went to his father and made the same request. His father advised him to go to sage Angiras, who was trying to accomplish a yajna, but was not being able to accomplish it because of his attachment. Nabhag went to the place where sage Angiras was performing his yajna and preached sage Angiras on the virtues of religiousness, the dharma. As a result, he became free from all sorts of attachments and the yajna was successfully accomplished. Sage Angiras was very pleased by Nabhag's knowledge of religion He gave all the remaining wealth of Yajna to Nabhag. Just then Lord Shiva appeared in his Krishnadarshan avatar and tried to prevent the sage Angiras from donating the wealth to Nabhag. Instead, he claimed his own stake. Nabhag told Lord Shiva that since the wealth was given to him by sage Angiras himself, it naturally belonged to him. Lord Shiva then sent Nabhag to his father Shraddhadev to know about his opinion. Nabhag went to his father, who revealed to him that the person who was claiming his claim on the wealth was none other than the Lord Shiva. He also told him that whatever remained after the accomplishment of the yajna belongs to Lord Shiva only. Nabhag was now satisfied. He went back to Lord Shiva and narrated everything what his father had said. Krishnadarshan Avatar showed Nabhag the significance of higher spiritual attainment and salvation and gave him blessings. Next avatar is Bhikshu Varya Avatar. As the name suggests, in the Bhikshu Varya Avatar, Lord Shiva appeared as a beggar to save the child of a king named Satyaratha. Once a beggar was passing by a child who had just taken birth near the banks of a river where his mother had died. While the newborn was crying, a woman nearby hesitated to take the child. Shiva then, in his bhikshuk form, advised the woman to take the child and bring him up. Next avatar is Sureshwar Avatar. This avatar of Lord Shiva appeared in Indradev's disguise to test the devotion of a young boy. Once a child named Upamanyu, the son of a sage Vyagrapad, meditated to please Lord Shiva. Shiva was with an intention to test his devotee, appeared there with his wife Parvati, both disguised as Indra and Indrani. They not only attempted to instigate him against Shiva, but also promised to bless him and fulfill all his wishes. However, this could not lose the boy into moving his devotion away from Shiva, and his dedication to Shiva was tested to be true. Pleased by this, both the deities revealed themselves and blessed the child. Next avatar is Kirat Avatar. In the Kirat Avatar, as a hunter, Lord Shiva appeared to test the bravery of Arjun. And this also, I think, this story is very popular. When the Pandavas were in his exile, Arjun meditated to seek Lord Shiva's Pashupat. As he was meditating, a demon named Mook transformed into a boar to kill Arjun. Lord Shiva's Kirat Avatar and Arjun both killed the boar with their respective arrows at the same time. A fight broke between Kirat and Arjun as to who struck the boar first. Arjun challenged Kirat for a duel. Kirat, pleased by Arjun's valor, gifted him his Pashupat. Initially, Arjun could not recognize Lord Shiva, but eventually he realized that only the Lord Shiva could give him the Pashupat and be a better archer than him. Next avatar is Suntantark Avatar. The Suntantark Avatar of Lord Shiva appeared in the Himalayan king's court and danced with his damru. In the end, he put forward a marriage proposal and expressed his desire to marry Parvati. Next avatar is Brahmacharya Avatar. When Sati took birth as Parvati, she performed intense penance to please Lord Shiva. Shiva appeared before her as a brahmachari. He hurled abuses at Shiva to test Parvati's devotion and determination to marry him. And Parvati, who loved Lord Shiva more than anyone else, gave a fitting reply to the brahmachari. Eventually, Lord Shiva revealed himself and agreed to marry Parvati. Next avatar, Yaksheshwar Avatar. The Yaksheshwar Avatar of the Lord Shiva appeared to crush the pride and ego of the Devatas after they consumed Amrit, the divine nectar from Samudra Manthan. He asked them to cut a blade of grass, and they failed to destroy it even with their combined power. And this story is in detail mentioned in the Upanishads also. Subsequently, the Devatas apologized to Lord Shiva. And the last avatar in this list is Avadhut Avatar. Lord Shiva appeared as Avadhut to crush the ego of Indra Dev. Once Indra and Brihaspati were traveling to Mount Kailash. Lord Shiva appeared as a naked beggar and blocked their path. The duo could not recognize Lord Shiva in disguise, and Indra asked the Lord to move out of the way. To his utter dismay, Lord Shiva did not move. And enraged Indra raised his Vajra to kill the beggar. But Lord Shiva paralyzed Indra with his gaze of a third eye. The realization dawned about Indra and Brihaspati. And Brihaspati directed Indra to apologize to Lord Shiva. So these are 19 avatars according to Shiva Mahapurana. And just in a summary form, I gave you a little background of these avatars. So if you want to check if the names are, you have written down correctly or not. Pipalad Avatar, Nandi Avatar, Veer Bhadra Avatar, Sharab Avatar, Sharabha, Sharab, Ashwatthama Avatar, Bhairav Avatar, Bhairava, Bhairav Avatar, Durvasa Avatar, Grihapati, Grihapati, Grihapati Avatar, Hanuman Avatar, Vrishva Avatar, Vrishva, Vrishva Avatar, Yati Nath Avatar, Krishna Darshan Avatar, Bhikshu Varya Avatar, Sureshwar Avatar, Kirat Avatar, Keerat, Suntantakar Avatar, Suntantark, Brahmachari Avatar, Yaksheshwar Avatar, so he took the form of a Yaksha, which Devatas did not recognize, Yaksha, a celestial being, and Avadhut Avatar. So these are the 19 avatars we talked about from Shiv Mahapurana. And remember, these are like a Ansh avatars of Lord Shiva. Okay. So see, this is the power of God. Can be at the several places at the same time in different bodies also. Okay. So yogis, they do that. And Lord Shiva, he is a yogi, Mahayogi. So let's end the class here and then we can have some dialogue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyat Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.